Okay, welcome, my colleagues, for this. Welcome, and we'll just proceed with the Constitution. As you are in the known, we reached a resolution at one of our meetings that it's just best to get a full document. Our meetings with Dean, the Dean of Students, Prof, that it's just best to get a full association for the sandwich students. The draft is ready, and the draft has been extracted from the draft of the review constitution of the SRC. So there are a lot of provisions imported from the SRC constitution. I did this because the Sandwich Students Representative Association, SRA, is a mini SRC for the Sandwich students. So basically, they perform like SRC. Yes, but we cannot call them another SRC again. That is why they are using the name Sandwich Students Representative Association. And of course, they are using SRC funds. So very important guidance and provisions that are in the SRC Constitution are equally in theirs. Yes, but when it comes to structure, the structure has been reviewed and have been minimalized to suit their system. Yes. So when we go through, those of you who went through the Constitution, you see that indeed the structure has been minimalized. It has been reduced to suit their nature. And we are hoping that with this done, the regular students can now hold physical elections. The elections will no more be virtual because of the sandwich, because now the sandwich can elect their own leaders separately. So we wouldn't have a reason to hold online elections again. But if the SRC wants to proceed again to be doing online elections, it's not a problem. But I think it will be easier now since one group now have their own niche of the SRC. So that is it for the Sandwich Students Representative Association. So the preamble have been revised so that it will be suitable for Sandwich students. As you can see, in the spirit of the reverence to the Almighty God, we, the Sandwich students of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, recognizing the importance of upholding the highest standard of human qualities, both material and spiritual, with a heartfelt commitment to nurturing and rearing solidarity and fraternity. I'm taking the unraving out. So with a heartfelt commitment to nurturing solidarity and fraternity, not only within our own ranks, but with our sister institutions, the youth and the people of our nation and beyond, dedicated to the principles of democracy and driven by the belief that our knowledge and actions can be a force of liberation for humankind. On this auspicious day, we hereby solemnly adopt, enact, and bestow upon ourselves this Constitution. So that's their preamble. And then, the interpretation, majority of them are a list of, but as you can see, SASRA is their initial, SASRA. So SASRA, you can see SASRA and SASRA Senate. So the SASRA Senate is basically their parliament. That's basically their parliament. Spoiler alert, they will have a Senate. So, Chapter 1, Identity of SASRA. This legitimate body shall be known as the Sandwich Students Representative Association of UHAS, herein referred to as SASRA. SASRA, and shall be recognized by all bodies. Now, the motto for the SRC is Acta Non Verba. I just added the Acta Non Verba. Members, please help us suggest a motto for SASRA, UHAS. So I'll be waiting on you to suggest a motto for SASRA. But for now, what I have here is the Acta Non Verba. So the second is Article 2, Sovereignty, and Sandwich students have been mentioned here. Supremacy, Sandwich students has been mentioned here. And the UHAS Students Representative Council Constitution has been recognized as a higher constitution. So the SASRA Constitution subjects its provisions to the UHAS Constitution as well, just as the UHAS Act and then the statutes of UHAS, basically what are jointly called the fundamental laws of UHAS. So they have executive committee, they don't have executive board. They have their Senate, they don't have judicial bodies called judicial committee and any other specifications under Article 4. These provisions are lifted from the SRC. Laws of SASRA is just the terminology that has just been corrected. Yes. Acts of the SASRA Senate as bylaws and all this. Chapter 2, the Sandwich Students Representative Association, SASRA. Their objectives are the same, have not changed. It's just aligning and putting sandwich at where it should be. I've not changed it. So I appeal to you guys, maybe we could do a little, review of the objectives. But if there's nothing to change to, nothing spoil. Please, if you have an issue, just unmute yourself and then we deal with it, okay? Article 7, the composition and obligation. So, of course, all Sandwich students are members of SASRA, automatic members. So, I think we need to state here that they shall pay, including the SRC dues. So, we are specific that they pay the SRC dues and then their card to be given to them. So, all members shall honor financial obligations to SASRA, including SRC dues. I think that is clear. Then all the others. Then administrative structures. The Senate is the high decision-making or policy-making body of SASRA. Executive Committee is the administrative policy initiation and implementation body of SASRA. The Judicial Committee is responsible for administering justice. Affiliations. So SASRA UHAS is affiliated to UHAS SRC. So SASRA UHAS shall be affiliated to the Student Representative Council of UHAS. It is very clear that we state that. So SASRA basically, is an extension of the SRC. That is why their clear affiliation is the fact that they are affiliated to UHAS SRC. I hope we are clear on that. Tenure of officers of SASRA. So all executive officers hold office for an academic year. may be re-elected. It's the same position as the same provision as the SRC. Executives. SASRA executives are just 3. SASRA elected executives are just 3. Yes, does anyone have a question? Okay, if you don't have one, proceed. Yes, Charles, you have a question? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. So SASRA elected executive officers are only 3. The president, the secretary, and the treasurer. As I told you at the meeting with Dean, it was recommended that their structures are to be small. Yes. So in comparison to the SRC that has, I think, 5 elected executives, inclusive of the NUCs, SASRA does not have NUCs executives because the main SRC NUCs executives clearly represent SASRA as well. So they don't need NUCs executives. So they have 3. Chairman, kindly mute yourself if you are not going to make any comments. So the SASRA president provides overall leadership and direction. SASRA chairs SASRA meetings of the executive committee, acts as primary representative of SASRA to the investor administration, the SRC, and external organizations. Present a message on the state of SASRA at the start of each session of the SASRA Senate and the handing over ceremony of SASRA. Be a signatory to the account. So, of course, we need to create a bank account for SASRA so that whenever the SRC or the investee will remit the share of SASRA's donations, or should I say dues, it goes straight into the account. Yes, it goes straight into the account. So the president will be a signatory. Coordinate and oversee activities, advocate for Sandwich students' interests and concerns at various levels, foster collaboration and teamwork among SASRA officers, and perform any other function as may be prescribed by the Constitution. SASRA secretary, there shall be elected a SASRA secretary. A SASRA secretary who shall perform the following functions. So, manage tasks related to SASRA such as records, aid the president in performance of the duties and act in his absence, prepare and distribute official communiques, organize and coordinate meetings, maintain up-to-date register of members, handle inquiries and correspondence. The SASRA treasurer, there shall be elected a SASRA treasurer who shall perform the following functions: manage the financial affairs and resources, maintain records, be a signatory to the account. So there are 3 signatories: their president, their treasurer, and then the dean of students, who are their signatories. And then the treasurer also aid the secretary in the performance of his duties and act in his absence. Collection of dues. Collection of dues, donations, and funds. It means it is just as it is that we heard at the meeting. It's the treasurer that will have to ensure that the money that SASRA is entitled to is clearly deposited into the account. So he has to do that, work closely with stakeholders to ensure accountability. The executive committee. Now, the executive committee, because there are only 3, we need to make the executive committee a little bit big. So the executive committee has been expanded to the 3 executive officers and the general committee chairpersons. The general committee chairpersons. The executive committee is chaired by the president and the secretary as secretary to, and the secretary is the SRC secretary. The quorum is not less than 5 members present, and then the same duties just as the SRC one. They move straight to the legislature. So they have a Senate. The Senate of SASRA is the legislature of SASRA. So inserted by a speaker of the Senate, a deputy speaker elected from among their senators, and administration functions performed by the clerk. The Senate is composed of class representatives from sandwich classes and chairpersons of SASRA committees. They are all senators. I think we need to state clearly that their EC chair, their judicial committee chair, or the chair should not be members, except independent. Okay, I think we should just make chairpersons of SASRA general committees. Yeah, so because the independent ones are not in the list of the general, so when we say general committees, it means the judicial committee chair, the audit committee chair, and the elections committee are not senators. In attendance to the Senate shall be SASRA executive officers. The 3 of them are members in attendance. Officers of the Senate, the Speaker of the Senate, the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, and the Clerk to the Senate. Speaker of the Senate, Deputy Clerk of the Senate, the Speaker of the Senate, Deputy Speaker of the Senate, the Clerk to the Senate. These are the officers of SASRA Senate. So the Speaker of the Senate, the same functions, is just the new one. It's just the terminology that is being changed. So the SASRA Senate Speaker is elected from among students who are qualified to be elected as presidents of SASRA at the first sitting of a new Senate by senators. The Speaker shall head. It's just the same as the SRC, the functions are the same. The deputy, the Speaker of the Senate, and then, okay, I think this one can live like this. So the deputy Speaker of Senate must be a senator. So there shall be an elected a deputy Speaker of Senate from among senators at the first sitting of a new Senate by senators. The deputy speaker is just the same as the deputy speakers of the SRC Parliament. And then the clerk as well. The clerk is appointed by the Speaker of the Senate, subject to the approval of the Senate. Their functions are the same. I just removed some that were SRC specific. Their sittings are equally the same as the SRC. Yes, and then they are to have standing orders as well. Their committees have reduced them to 3. So they only have standing orders committee, privileges committee, and parliamentary committee. That is the committee that is to manage the affairs of the parliament. I think the standing orders committee is obviously chaired by the speaker, so it's just the same. So the right to observe is the same. The judiciary, so it's just the same provisions. You have changed everything. Instead of judicial board, it is judicial committee, because there must only be one judicial board relating to the entire strength, which is the SRC one. All there should be judicial committees. So it's just the same here. They will have a chief justice with 2 other justices, of which one is appointed as secretary, and one will become the deputy chief justice. So the functions is the same as the SRC. Functions of chief justice is also the same. Justices of the judicial committee is also the same. And then the jurisdiction is also as the SRC one. General committees, I've reduced them to just 4 committees: Academic Committee, Gender Affairs Committee, Organizing Committee, Public Relations Committee. So they only have 4 general committee and then 3 independent. So the academic committee, these are the duties. So issues of entertainment and sports, whatever SRC is doing, SRC will also include their reps. They don't need to have a committee because the Sunway students, they only come to campus for just a short period of time. Yeah, so whatever they are doing, they can equally set up an ad hoc committee to do. They don't need a standing committee for things that they might not even do at all. It's not like SRC that the students are regular. So that is why I didn't provide for the sports committee and entertainment, because the Sunway students are active only within a short period of time, and they might not have time to be, doing that. And if they want to do, they can either call on the SRC to do it for them, or they can form an ad hoc committee for that purpose. So these are the 3 committees: gender affairs, public relations, academic affairs, and organizing. An organizing committee. So these are OR. I need to bring the public relations after the organizing. So those are the functions. The functions are also imported. SASRA fund is just the same. I just imported. The audit committee. Now all their committees are 3. No, the SRC, the committees are 7 or 9, right? They are 7. But over here, all SASRA committees are 3. 3 is their prominent number. Everything 3. So like the committees were also 3. I could have seen that US throughout. Maybe we can remove the academic committee and then it will become 3, but that is for all of you. And entitlements as well. We'll review some provisions from the SRC might not necessarily apply to them. So we have to identify those ones and remove it. There are elections and electoral commission. It's also 2 members. The same functions. The electoral commission, I was even deliberating that they might not even have time to conduct. So the SRC electoral commission can conduct election for them. What do you guys say? Maybe that is something we should look into. Maybe if we let SRC conduct for them, then they will not have electoral commission. They will just have some relevant conditions. We only have some provisions here, but we can let the SRC, handle their election for them. But regardless, I have a lot of provisions here. And over here,
hello, Jones.
Yeah.
Please, with this, it would work. But you see, in certain scenarios where the chair for the electoral commission is in the final year, he may graduate before organizing elections for the sandwich, because they are normally November, December. You understand? So what we can do is we can just choose a rep from sandwich who would be part of the electoral commission. So here we have who rep, Hohoi rep. You see, you have the main electoral commissioner, the deputy, who rep, Hohoi rep. Then we can have 2 sandwich reps who may conduct the elections. You understand? So here they may be preview to all the procedural, all the electoral procedures or something. Do you understand? And they may be part of the board. So indirectly, it's still the EC that is organizing for them. But their reps are the people spearheading them on the campus. So that peradventure, if the head, the main EC is not available, they may step in. So that is also something that would, and it would even save resources and everything.
Yes.
So we can do it like that.
If their reps see how the men organize, they will just learn from it.
Perfect. Yeah.
But who knows, if they have their own electoral commission too, maybe if the main EC head wants to frustrate them, he cannot. Well, so yes, as you said it's just a proposal. Let's look at the proposal and let's reach a decision if we should just have their reps in the main SRC, EC, and then we organize, or they should just have their 3-man electoral commission. So I think when the others come, we'll take a full decision on that. So most of the provisions are imported, but the change that I did here was that after their judicial, any case that comes to their judicial committee, the next higher judicatory body is the SRC Judicial Board. So any case that the SRC Judicial Board becomes their appellate chamber, and if they are dissatisfied with things from the SRC Judicial Board, their final judicial and highest judicial adjudicatory body becomes the SRC Appeals Board. Their issues will not go to the University's Appeals Board as it is in the SRC. Their highest, all their cases ends at the SRC Appeals Board. Yes, because for SRC, when it starts at the Judicial Board, it goes straight to the SRC Appeals Board. And if the person is not satisfied, then it goes to the University's Appeals Board. But for SASRA, their highest will be the SRC Appeals Board. So I need you guys to look at the...
Hello, Jones.
Yeah, hello.
Sorry, yet again, it would really be some way to limit them to the highest, because we know that in court we appeal. So if should adventure, they are not satisfied with the SRC's court, then it makes it constitutional for them to appeal it at the next higher court. Do you understand? But you can say that all their cases should be addressed to the SRC Appeals Board, and the verdict is final and binding. That is all right. But if you say that they are limited to that, then it becomes problematic. Because what if they are not okay with the verdict from the SRC's Superior Court of Judicature? Then it means that they should shove it down their throats and sleep or something. And also, I'm also getting this vibe that we are making it like the sandwich are not part of the SRC. Because you are saying that you make a factual statement that the sandwich and the SRC, you see, the SRC is for everything, but the sandwich association is just like an assembly. It's just like a miniature. So it's also part of the SRC. It's actually the SRC, but they are just like a general assembly of the SRC in or on their campus. So whilst phrasing it, it shouldn't be like they are two distinct bodies. No. Even the sandwich president would have to report to parliamentary sitting some of the proceedings from so it is virtually the same SRC. Perfect. But that was the vibe I'm getting from the thing that actually they are separate and no, they are the same. So it starts from the Senate or the General Assembly, and it moves on to the SRC. And okay, thank you for the clarification.
From the start, I made it clear that they are mini nature. They are still the SRC, just that they will have an opportunity to manage their own affairs. Yes. Okay. I've heard you. You know, the SRC at the SRC level, all appeals end with the University Appeals Board. So SRC, you have 3 levels of judicial. Should I say you can work on your case on 3 levels of adjudicatory bodies. For the SRC students, it starts from the Judicial Board to the Appeals Board and then the University Appeals Board. But for SASRA, their own starts from their own judicial committee, then it gets to the SRC Judicial Board, and then it ends as the SRC Appeals Board. So that was just what I was trying to clarify, that in order to make it fair for all of them to have 3 levels of adjudication, that is why their own ends at the SRC Appeals Board. But if you still feel that they should have opportunities to have their final appeal at the University Appeals Board, it is not a problem. It's all about us agreeing that yes, they should have their final appeals at the university's appeals board, and then the provision will be changed. This is not final. This is just a draft. So let's keep on looking at that. But I need some of you to look at the electoral provisions of me very well for us to be sure they are okay for the sandwich or the SASRA. Yes, but most of the provisions are imported from the SRC constitution because they are basically SRC, but it is because their timeline is different. That is why they have this body. So most of the rules are just like the SRC because, as you said, they are basically SRC, but of a different timeline. So their grounds of removal is just the same as the SRC one, I think. Yes, it's just the same as the SRC one. Yes, because they are basically SRC. And it makes sense that the foundation of their constitution is basically the SRC one as well. So their impeachment as well, I think the SRC, it was 100 students, but I reduced their own to 20 registered sandwich students in good standing. Because the sandwich students are not as plenty as, they are not as plenty as the SRC, the regular students. So most of the provisions here are imported from the SRC constitution. Honorary as well is just the same. It's just the terminology that is being adjusted. The transitional committee as well, the provisions are same. It's just the composition that is being adjusted to suit SASRA. It's just the same thing. Amendment process as well, it has been made to suit SASRA. So at the Senate sitting, they can make amends and then it will have to go to I think it ends at the academic board. When we read through, we'll have clarification on that. The review process as well. Then copies of the constitution and then reports and archives. It's just the same as the SRC one. Oaths, their oaths is just the same. It's just putting wherever SRC is has been changed to SASRA. And then they have oath of secrecy as well. They also have oath of secrecy. The oaths are supposed to be justified. So I just justify them. So this is the SASRA constitution. Please, can we start the deliberations, questions, and how we can? Yes, the floor is now open.
Oh, yes, I think we can start with the deliberations.
Yes.
Because that's the main issues at hand.
Well, if someone has read through, the SRC constitution, you'll be familiar with the majority of the provisions. So the adjustments mainly done was wherever SRC was changed to SASRA, wherever Parliament was changed to Senate, and all the satellite provisions have been removed. Yes, because SASRA is only one level. And these are the adjustment being done. And then, of course, SASRA elected executives are 3. So if you compare it, you realize that it's basically structural changes that were made to suit SASRA. Because majority of the provisions are imported from the SRC constitution that we drafted. Majority of them are imported from there. And so members who have read the SRC constitution, the only issue here is about compatibility. That is the main issue for us to discuss, whether or not the provisions that have been imported are really compatible and should our sandwich colleagues have those provisions. Yes, some would say the provisions are too elaborate for SASRA, but the reason why I imported them is we cannot underestimate SASRA, because just as our colleague said, they are basically SRC. It's the same SRC, just that they are of a different timeline. So I didn't underestimate them. So that is why majority of the provisions are just imported. If the same rules apply to SRC, should apply to them. The same consequences that applies to SRC should apply to SASRA as well. The same consequences, the same punishment that applies to SRC officers applies to SASRA executives and appointees as well. Yes, so in the case of UHAS-based TV, whatever attention UHAS-based TV gives to the SRC, UHAS-based TV has to give that same attention to SASRA. Yes, UHAS-based TV has to give that same attention to SASRA. So they should take note of that. Yes, so guys. Hello.
Yeah. With me, I think I'm okay with the provision so far. Where I had challenges or difficulty understanding was where I raised the issue. So I believe this is a good step in the right direction. And believe you me, we are laying down the bricks. We are creating the foundation. It may not be perfect. It may not be appropriate now. But you see, as time goes on, as it's tried and tested, there will be amendments and stuff. But there was also one thing that I wanted to add, that you see how the US Constitution is. There are various amendments and stuff. We should also try create a provision where the structural foundation of the SRC wouldn't be taken off by a new system. I mean, how we are reviewing the Constitution now. You see, we are tackling the fundamental core of the SRC. But what we have done, we think it's okay. So the next time that there's a review, it shouldn't be a major review, but it should be an amendment. You understand what I mean? And when it does that, if we get a growing SRC, so we have amendment of the Constitution, and we either add chapters or review chapters or refine chapters, so that we don't waste time reviewing the entire SRC Constitution. It can be done, but instead of the 5 years, we can say reviewing the entire SRC Constitution should be 10 years with the school lawyer part of the committee. You see, then it makes it more credible. Then we say, however, there can be periodic amendments within 5 years interval. And there can also be some parliamentary kind of resolutions annexed and all those things, which can be done per administrative year. But the main thing should be amendment, so that we can have the Constitution. This is the review Constitution, BAM. But there are other amendments that have been done to the main Constitution, so that we don't start and redrafting and everything again. So that is also one thing that I thought we could do it. And when we do it, it will make sense and people would appreciate it.
Yes, Mr. President, my follow-up to what the Honorable said is, you see, as of now, most of you are focused on exams and all those, so you didn't have enough time to look at the provisions. I'll plead that instead of us rushing, let us have the concept of doing that. Now that majority of you have completed, we want to go through the provisions again, article by article, and let's see the visibility of it, the impact, the consequences, and let's agree on every single provision in the Constitution. So by next year, April, we would have done a whole going through of the entire constitution. Then we'll take SRC again and go through their own article by article, read debates, all the.
I agree with you.
After we have done that,
I agree
then
with
we
you.
have to submit it to Dean and then take a final approval from Parliament before
I
we
agree
go.
with you.
Because we cannot tolerate any error.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we cannot tolerate. As of now,
I agree with
majority
you.
of the members.
It will be too costly.
Yes. Majority of the members have been busy with programs and then. So right now we need to go through
it's laudable. It's laudable. But the challenge that I'm anticipating is, you see, when we plead for this time, that means that, you see, the premise of our appointment was that, I don't know with you, but with us, we are serving as a committee in the SRC. And the main thing is that we are members of the SRC, hence we can be appointed as committee members. But if you cease to be a student, that is, if you graduate, you are no longer under the status populari. That means you cease to be a member of the SRC. So in this capacity that we have graduated and we are no longer students, can we serve still as members of the Constitutional Review Committee? That is where the technicality and the legality comes in.
Yes, in my response to this will have to be a discussion we need to have with Dean. That yes, you have done the work, but we want to re-go through again. So with Dean in agreement, Dean and the SRC president will now reconfirm and renew the membership of the members, regardless of the fact that they are no more. There has to be an agreement.
It's understandable. It's understandable.
Well, yes.
It's understandable. It's understandable. You can have just an extension of our time. It makes sense. That is the only problem that I have. So if that is settled, then it means that we can have that agreement. That's my only problem. So that being solved, because I agree with you. Most of the provisions, for instance, I have the knowledge from our meetings. So the meetings that I couldn't join, I couldn't explain that provision to the ordinary student who asked me. And I understand, Charlie, my project work is there, my coursework are there, the other things that I'm doing. So it's understandable. So if the Dean of Students would have this contract with us, that even though a majority of us are staying, Belama is staying in the school as a service personnel, I'm also staying, Charles is also staying. You see, we are all staying. So it would even be a good opportunity for us to even meet the Dean frequently and have some kind of agreement with her. So I agree with you. I think Charles should follow it up, he being the chairperson for the meeting, so that we can see how it would work out.
Chairperson for what again?
Charles. Isn't Charles the chairperson for the committee?
Yes.
So I'm just saying that, Charles, you being the chairperson of the committee, you are the best person to channel the rest to the Dean. That's what I'm saying. Hey, cool.
I know you. I don't want any issue.
Mr. I'm not going to let on watch you. Okay. Jones.
Yeah.
Jones. Charlie, of late, I've been seeing Charles' LinkedIn profile, and he's really doing well.
Please, let's speak to this, I guess.
Yes, Charles is he's really making impact. So on this note, this is just another agenda, but I don't know if my internet will permit me to stay all through. But regardless, I wanted us to also look at this. At the end, I was proposing to Charles the other day that we try and see if even some of our money or something, we can get funds to do citation for ourselves. Because we can't trust the SRC with their certificate and honorarium. Last year's executive committee, they don't even have theirs. So that we can have some nice honorarium as members of the Constitutional Review Committee. so that some of us, our family members, should be proud of us a little. So Charles, Jones, I don't know if you think it's a good idea.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Yes. And Charles, I was even thinking that if we talk to the Dean of Students and let her understand the toll that this thing has had on us and all those things, she can try and even the honorarium, she will sign it for us with the Vice Chancellor and they may present it to us during graduation. What do you think?
In graduation the other day.
Oh, Charlie,
your first class. Hey.
Oh, Master, that is just an idea. Like, this would also encourage other people to also work for the SRC. And when we even talk about the fact that we have done constitutional review of the SRC, and this is our certificate or our citation, it would even help other people to be interested in what kind of review have they done. The Vice Chancellor or even the Dean of Students is giving them a citation in honor of them. It would make people look at it. Yes, it would. So just think about it. If you need us to meet the Dean of Students as a team of 8 people to discuss this too, I think it would be a good idea. Other universities do that. Some was sister like this. The university gave him that. KNST gave him that and all those. It's not a new thing. So just let us discuss with the dean. Now, if I say, yeah, why? It will be really good and nice. The 8 of us standing there with our shoes and stuff and receiving that citation. In addition to our individual first class and valedictorian stuff. And now, Charles. Okay, so that is just by the way. So we can move on with the Sandwich Representative Council.
Yeah, if there are nothing to add, then I think I can end the stream and then we'll bring the meeting to a close.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, there's one more thing. There's something I saw in the fundamental laws of UHAS that I think it would really look nice in our SRC constitution. How to file an appeal, or even how to file for a case. Yes, it's behind. If you take the fundamental laws of UHAS, you see it as an appendix in it at the latter end. And I think we can take it and modify it where it's UHAS appeals board. We can do it SRC appeals board and annex it to the SRC constitution so that anyone who gets the SRC constitution will know that, oh, if you are not okay with this, you can channel your grievances to the CJ through this means. And this is the format for writing. I think the school did due diligence in that we can also cooperate and add. At the end of the SRC constitution, the new one we are doing, we just add it as an appendix.
Okay,
we just copy and paste, but we edit it where it has, we just put SRC there. Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I'll be waiting for that so that I can add it to both.
Okay, I'll share it with you. I'll just share it with you. I'll take a number from the page and share it, or I'll put it on the page so that everyone can have a look at it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, can I bring the meeting to a close?
Yes, please, boss.
Okay, so I'm stopping the stream.
Please, one more thing. Is this going to be our last meeting?
No, I think this cannot be our last meeting. If
yes,
we are
it can.
No, this is our last meeting. I'll be seeing the dean within a week as to when I'm able to get an opening in her schedules within a week. Then I'll meet her, and then when I'm done, I'll bring you the feedback. Then we can have our final meeting.
Okay, let's have our final meeting with the dean.
Okay, we'll see how feasible that will get. Just because of a schedule.
No, it doesn't matter. We now have the luxury of time. So whenever she's ready,
Charlie, we don't have the luxury of time.
We
if
have,
you have,
my brother. Yes, we all have.
Engagements.
We all have. If you are going to marry, we all have. There's no rush. Yes, we all have.